So for the egg, I had mentioned on the live the other day, I'm actually going to be using some new, I'm not going to be using Mod Podge for these. I got these varnishes because the tutorial that I watched, this is what she used to get a super high gloss on the egg, and I absolutely loved that. So this is what I'm going to try. So I'm using a gloss varnish and a high gloss varnish today. And then there is a matte version as well. Y'all know I love matte. So I just ordered that because I know I'm going to use it. So what she recommended to do is to actually pour these into glass jars. So that's what I've done, and I just labeled the top so I know which one they are, because so that you're not dipping your paintbrush into these. I'm going to put those to the side. And then I have one of our eggs, and I just have a base. So what she suggested to do was to use like a pot. This is actually one that I have one of our Revlon transfers on. Upside down so you can't see it. But it's the one I had. So I was like, I'm just gonna use that. So it's basically, so you can put the egg on it and then use some kind of, I have a Ziploc bag, you can use Saran wrap, but so that you can put it on there and it doesn't try to roll away from you because it has like the indentation. Now she did this on super huge eggs. I only have the little eggs today that I'm going to be using. And the napkin that I picked is the Old Rugged Cross because I figured Easter, let's do it. And I'm going to grab, well, I have one paper, so it'll be enough. I'm running out of my pre-grabbed paintbrushes over here. Okay, the other thing that you're going to need is Saran wrap and scissors, and I think that's it, unless I remember something else along the way, which totally can happen. But the high gloss is actually for the top coat. Just the regular gloss is what we're going to be using to apply the napkin. All right, so I actually saw her do this on a pumpkin, which is another like curved surface, and I liked how she did it. It is going to be super challenging because this is what do you call it? Concave surface. Is it concave? Once it goes like that, and we're putting words on it, so it'll look good like for right about here, and then the top is going to kind of cross. So, it's not gonna look, I have done the eggs where you tear off little pieces and you just add the little pieces, which is great for flowers, which probably would have been an easier version to test than doing the words, but maybe we'll just do a couple and see how it goes. So I'm just going to cut the portion of napkin that we're going to be working with, the rest of the side. And I am going to, I think I'm going to cut it first. Let's move our little egg here. And then separate it because I think it will be harder to separate once it's cut. All right, so I'm just cutting. Now the size of the strips are going to be based on the size of your egg. These are small eggs, so I'm going to be doing smaller strips. And I wanted this the title. So I am going to cut that part out separate because I think I'm going to run that along the top. We'll see how. All right, so I'm just cutting out strips. You are going to want to keep the strips in the same order if you're going to be matching these up, which is what I'm going to try and do. I said try. We'll see how it works out. I should have picked like a much larger egg, but these are the eggs that we have in the store. So I thought, let's just try something with it and we'll see how it works. And I don't know if I'll need all of these. This could look absolutely horrible when we're done. It's in the future, we'll see. I definitely don't think I'll need all these. But... all right, we're gonna go with that. I'm gonna leave them in this order so that I can match them up. Might have been easier to tear glue. We'll see. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the middle one. Let's bring our eggs up here. I've got my gloss. That we'll put over here. And I have not worked with this before, so it is not like a object. You can see, like, it's super loose and runny. So it's not thick. There is some thickness to it, but it's not thick like the Mod Podges. So these eggs do have a seam on them. Some of the eggs that we sell, if you get the first batch, we don't have this clear seam on them. This last batch I reordered does have the seam on them. But we'll be sending out the first batch first. So I'm trying to make it so you can see here. I'm gonna move my egg up. Okay, so I'm just doing a light coat. And again, we're gonna work in all areas. And I painted that before I separated my napkin. Ooh, I think I just got lucky. Separating for me. Okay, so we only need the top side of this napkin. And I got super lucky that it was already separating. Otherwise, that could have been crazy. All right, so we just gently pull it off. We don't need that part. We just want this very thin piece right here. Wherever you want your burst to be centered is how you're going to put that on there. All right, so you can just see, just kind of laid it on there. I'll just push these up so I can get more centered for you. And then you're just going to keep working around. But what is going to happen is you're only going to be able to match up exactly this main section right here. Because as it goes up, it's going to want to go in a little bit. So again, we're just going to the very top layer. If you're watching, let me know if you've done eggs before. Again, this is the first time I've done it this way. Again, did not get lucky with this one. I'm gonna do super cheap right here. See if I can get I just grabbed some tape. I can get the other layer. Oh, see, my tape doesn't even want to grab it. All right, that didn't want to work. It would help if my nails were a little bit longer. I don't know if it's the weather, lack of moisture in the air, vitamin deficiency. All right, we're getting it. Okay. So now I'm going to want to line up my verses. So I can see where the beef, the lamb, the God is. And oops. This is where it can get a little bit tricky. All right. Grab my saran wrap. All right, so I did pretty decent. I did tear it at the bottom. But like I said, the bottom and the top are going to get a little bit funky because you can't line it up. You can see it's going to cross over here and it's going to cross over at the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm just sticking it back right where it tore. and we're just sticking it back on there. So basically the whole goal is to try and get the verse, the main part that you see right here, try and get that the main thing that you look at when you display it, because the whole egg is not really readable. Now if I did like florals or something like that, then it would be easier because you're touching different pieces. But where I'm trying to line up words, it gets a little tricky. All right, I have this one, the glows. All right, so just keep working around, and again, I'm really just focusing on that one section of verse so that it lines up. And then letting the top and bottom kind of do what they want to do. Now you have a little bit of play with this, but you don't have a ton. I'm trying to debate. I think I am going to go ahead and start one on this side. So that I don't get so focused on that side, because now I'm kind of working around towards the back where I don't care as much about, or as everything being lined up. Okay, got that there ready. Put my little varnish on here. Try not to touch where it's wet. It's gonna get tricky when and I do notice that varnish is a little bit, it has like a stickiness to it, like a cream. Okay, I'm just gonna turn it a little bit this way so I can reverse. All right. All right, so all in all, really not horrible as far as lining up the words. I don't know where it's focusing. But you can see I've got it pretty decent. I love that little cross where the dear Lamb of God left. So it's like, you know, it's cutting through, but the main focus part is I love that little cross where the dear Lamb of God left. I'm happy with that. So basically what you're gonna wanna do is keep working your way around each one. Now this might take me a minute, so probably should have done the rice paper tutorial and this one as another one. Obviously this is taking longer. I really wanted to try this method. I don't like how my eggs turned out last year that I did. They were super lumpy, and I just didn't like how they look. Like, I have them on display, but I'm not really proud of them. They're in the tier tray. My son actually did a couple, and his turned out better than mine did. All right, this one's giving me issues, so I'm gonna tear the bottom so I can get one of the. If it's not working for you to get it separated, just tear either from the top or the bottom, and it should give you some. It should start separating the flag. That one I didn't have letters lined up good. Now you'll notice as you keep working through, these will kind of naturally go over each other. which again is why I wanted to do strips, because it'll help when you go to finish off the top. You can already see how they're like laying each other over the top of each other. I'm just tacking those down. All right, we're gonna go back to this side here. Now it looks at first glance like I may need either another napkin. We'll see where we end up and how close it gets, if one napkin works or not. Sheesh, this is just giving me issues today. I saw a lady use the painter's tape method, and I think we're at the painter's tape because I was asking my husband if he had seen it. If we have it, it's buried. So my next Home Depot trip, I'll have to get some. Okay, moving it over here just a little bit. Oh, drop something on there. So far for the varnish, I will say I like it. Maybe because it's not as thick as the Mod Podge. Okay, gotta find where my verses go in here. This really is working well. I'm actually shocked. I am noticing as I go around, like it feels like it's less and less area to cover. Oh, this one's already separating, so that's good. Again, you can use the same technique and use florals and just tear spots and work in different spots. This is just a technique that I saw her use. I saw someone use on a pumpkin with a round surface, and she was matching up the pattern exactly all the way around the pumpkin. And I was like, what? I didn't even know that was a thing. Okay, so we will need our extra strip here. So I'm just gonna cut these two. And keep them on the sides that I'll be using them, so I know where to line them up. I was telling Haley here, just packing kits in the back, that, oh, this will only be like 20 minutes. And then I decided to do 2 projects. Really neat. Oh, I'm gonna take that for a roll. Okay, I want to make sure we get it on the right side there. I just don't think that, as far as like sticking these, I don't think I could cut it straight if I had peeled it off first and then separated it. So that's why I went this direction, because once you peel that top layer off, it's pretty curly. And I just don't think it would work that well. So make sure you have your glasses on for this part, because getting those words is a little bit tricky. Now it is working around towards the back, so it might not look as amazing as it does on the front. And it does look like it's going to be just a little bit short on the napkin. So I'm going to have to come up with plan 3. On the fly, we can do it. Next time I just have all these like separated, ready to go. I was kind of back and forth if I was going to hammer or going to find a napkin one or find a floral one and do that. Okay, so over here you can see we're at the end of our music. So like you have like the bar, the whole bar where it's done there. I do have this piece that I cut off the top. So we'll see if that's enough. But we still have a couple of these, but we're going to be cutting it close, but we'll see how close we are. This project is not full of paint art. Oops. You know, all right, we've got 2 more strips. Like I said, it's gonna be pretty close. We might make it. If one napkin covers one whole egg, I would be so happy. Looking for weaknesses in this napkin. Something must have got wet where I put the varnish on it down here. So that did tear a little bit, leaving a little bit of a pattern on there. We're just gonna work with it. But again, we're kind of really just focusing on that middle part. I don't know, I must have got on it when my paintbrush was out over here. Okay, so I gotta figure out which strip. Yeah, it has to be this way. Okay, I was like, where does it go? But it has to go this way because the other side of the verse is already done. Okay. Oh, here we go. I was too high on the napkin. All right. Okay, so then we have like our last piece. Oh, it looks like that last piece is going to fit perfectly. How lucky are we there? I just want to tack down these ends a little bit for the last piece. Okay, so lucky. 1 egg, 1 napkin. And I'm going to tear the top of this. And if we did need some filler, we do still have some filler with this little piece here that I have left that has some of the brown on it. Okay, so we're going to fill in our little top here. And should overlap both pieces. And then I'll show you how we do this. Now I just got to line up my words again. Oh, look how lovely that worked out. Now, one thing you will have, because we did overlap that last part, is where it's overlapped, it is a little bit darker. So you have that seam there, but this is the back. So I don't really, back, we're not going to show it. So the back we know is not going to look like the best. Okay. So ideally, we don't want to touch it and let it dry. Okay, are you using plastic to smooth it because it won't stick to our fingers? Yes, because this varnish I'm noticing is a little tacky, and when you get it on your fingers, there's like a string that comes across. So this is what she recommended, was to use it to push it down so that the napkin is not clean. You can actually see on my finger right here where the napkin at some point, I think it was when I was separating the plies, stuck to my finger and the varnish. So yeah, when you're testing it, I would only use the Saran Wrap. Okay, so this is our whole little egg so far. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I'm really loving how this is turning out. I wasn't worried there for a second. I don't know if you saw, I was sweating in the beginning. Okay, so for right now, with our little tails, what we wanna do is cut these down. And we obviously don't need all of this to cover the bottom. Yikes, egg wants to go fly. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna kind of give it a haircut. Just eyeball it, maybe go like your bangs a little bit longer than you think you should, because you can't go back. And I'm just gonna trim off what we don't need here. Just go in there and give it a little haircut. All right, so this is kind of what I've ended up with. And then we'll go ahead and do the other side. I kind of more towards the top when I was working it and not so much on the bottom. So I might need a little bit more to do the bottom here. We'll see. All right, again, don't be too aggressive with your trimming because there's no going back. And they're still in there, so we've gotta. Oh, these are married, already stuck together. All right, I'm just cutting them. All right, these are kind of long. Okay, so how we do is you want to start with whichever layer is underneath all of them. So I can see that this layer right here is the bottom. So I'm just putting some varnish in there, and then I'm gonna just tack it down. I'm actually just gonna use my brush to do this, the end of my brush, because I don't want to even touch it with it. And then you'll naturally see like which one is next. So this one is next, and it's a delicate cut. It's super long. So I am gonna give it a little trim, because as long as you have one layer covering the bottom, then you're gonna have enough for the whole bottom. Okay, so I'm just gonna again work that. And then this one's kind of next, so I'm just bringing that one down. And then this is the one that decided to stick to everything, so it's being a little wonky, so we'll just kind of play with it. The softer brush you have, the easier this is. This brush has seen better days. So again, I'm just gently working them down. I don't have a lot of product on my brush. I don't want this to get like super sticky. And okay, and then this one, this one's kind of more down than the rest of them. And that one is a little bit long. I'm gonna trim it. So if you find like wrapping itself all the way around, like you don't get that. Give it a little cut. And pushing it down, I'm just gonna get a little bit more. And if you have the product on there already, you can just use the back of your brush to like to get down to where. And again, the bottom is not gonna look the greatest because who's looking at that? And this one, honestly, I have enough, so I'm just gonna take that off. So that's basically what the bum looks like. Hey, I have Clifton's Crafty mask on. Perfect, welcome, welcome. So now we gotta do the top. The top is gonna be a little bit more visible. But I also worked closer to the top here. Like you can kind of see these are really like bunched together. So that's the good news. The bad news is I can't see the egg. I'm gonna have to dig in here to find the bottom. All right, those two are kind of stuck together. Again, this is my first time working with varnish, so yeah, when it sticks, it sticks. All right, so I'm gonna just try and open it up a little bit so I can get my paintbrush in there with some of the varnish inside. And then I think I'm just gonna work like I did the other ones. Just one layer at a time, working them over. It looks like this is the bottomish one, so we'll work that one first. And I probably could have cut this shorter, but it was already pretty short. All right, this one's coming, these two. And again, you're just working each little layer there. You don't need a lot of product when you get to this point because they're kind of just all going together. All right, so this would be the other end. Again, if you want to like make sure that it's really pressed down in there, you can use your Saran wrap. So basically, we have on the front. Okay, so this is the back. So basically, this is kind of what we have for the egg, and then from here, after it's completely dry, which I'm gonna take a little bit, you're supposed to let it wait like a couple days, but I'll probably just wait a couple of hours. And then after that, I'm gonna go ahead and apply the high gloss. And that's gonna give it a super shiny, this one, egg gloss. So that's gonna give it, so it's a super shiny egg, kind of like, it'll look like a glass egg, is the idea. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this dry, and then I will do one coat of the high gloss. And when they're completely dry, I will take sure and put it on here so you can see like the completely finished version. But what do you guys think? I wasn't sure that this was gonna work out with the word, but it's worked out way better than I thought. Without me touching it. But you can see how this technique would work really great on any type of pumpkin or anything that has this kind of shape where it's hard to get everything to line up. Like if I just did the napkin without cutting the strips, I would have lost like all of, the lines are perfect, but you would have lost like the physic note thing because they would just go around and down and it doesn't look the same. So yes, it was kind of a pain to do all of the different strips, but I kind of love how it turned out. And then also another thing that I could do is if I wanted to go ahead and put the actual name of the song, like if I wanted to cut this part out and just run it across the top, I could, but then also know that by doing that, it is going to go down a little bit. And this is what I was talking about. If you use the entire napkin without the actual strips, you have to work within the picture. I'm just going to lay nice. Like if this was shorter and I just used it all rugged, like it would fit there very nicely. But even if I use like the whole thing, I could start bending around the egg. And I think I can work it just how it is without. Or a bigger egg. I know you can find bigger eggs at like Hobby Lobby and things like that. But I'm going to let this dry. I'll do another coat of the gloss, or I'll do a final coat of the high gloss, and then I will post so that you guys can see it. And I know this is like probably the longest tutorial video I've done. But it's because we did the two projects, so next time I know just try and do one project. Oh, they said things that turned out really well. Me too. I'm actually surprised. I got scared in the back. I got scared when we got to the back. I thought I was going to run out of napkins. And at that point, I was frantically trying to figure out if I did what we're going to do. And I was thinking lace. I don't even know. But I think it turned out great. I'm happy to put this one in my tier tray. The first coat that I used was gloss varnish. So there's a gloss and there's a high gloss. I got both these off Amazon. So the gloss varnish is what I use for the first base. And then I'm going to use the high gloss for the finish. If you didn't want it glossy, I also got the matte. I usually use matte and everything, but I did like the look where it kind of looked like a glass egg. So that's kind of what I'm going to go for. So it should be like when I get that gloss coat on there, I think I got to let this dry a couple hours at least. That should be super shiny like a glass egg. So I will do that, and then I will post a picture so that you guys can see it. For those of you that are members, make sure you jump on tonight. We're going to be doing another craft with for just the members in the Books Craft Night, and we are going to be, I have some of the stuff over here. We're going to be doing this super cute, we're going to be doing a super cute letterbox sign using the cross, and then we've got these egg beads we're going to use. We've got some lace, so we're going to be doing some distressing with this and making a really cute sign with that. So join me on that. That's going to be 5 o'clock tonight in the members group. So that is it for this one, and until next time